Welcome to another Demarcation Media Mega Construx review. Today we are looking at the second Fallout set. This was actually the first one to be revealed. This is the T-60 Power Armor Collection. Now a little bit of info about this set before we launch into it. This is, I believe, an Amazon exclusive. As of the time of the recording of this video, it is sold out. They are still in the midst of shipping out the pre-orders because we pre-ordered this months and months ago. My hope and what I'm going to be looking for is for them to restock it once all of the pre-orders have shipped. I know some people have had their pre-orders delayed, so I wouldn't expect to see this up for normal sale on Amazon for at least another 2 months. That's my estimate. If things go well. If things go badly, I don't know. But my hope is that once all the pre-orders ship, we will be seeing this more readily available. And, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But for now, let's go ahead and look at this box. So this box is heavily stylized. It's also not that big, but on all sides, it is kitted out as if it's a little, I guess, like locker. It's like a lock box kind of thing that you can see the screws on it. Look at all the worn detail on the front. It says property of Vault-Tec, Fallout collector building sets, T-60 Power Armor Collection, 327 pieces, and then we get the little Mega logo. It's kind of funny seeing a Mega set that doesn't show literally anything of the set at all. Like, there's nothing for you to see what's inside here. I think what would have been really perfect here is if they did like a little hinge front and then had them all inside, but that's really just nitpicky. Let's go ahead and get this open. Let me grab my knife. And it looks like we just have a single piece of tape to cut like that, and that should allow us to get in. Always sheath your knife. Do not leave knives laying around open. Aha! Out it comes. Oh boy. So this is going to be the same assembly as the little armor bay thing in the Red Rocket set. And it's a bit of a tedious build, and we get to do that 5 times because each armor comes with a stand. So that's gonna be fun. So we can put that aside. Here are the instructions. That's the back side. Ooh, look at that. Very up close of the T-60 face. Now, I have heard some people being like, oh, why is it just the T-60? The T-60 was what was featured in the Fallout show, which is why I think they decided to go all out on the T-60. I do hope eventually we'll see some of the other models, some of the more interesting, well, not more interesting, I do like this one. The different ones, like the X01 or whatever it's called. So these are very stylized. They are styled in the Vault-Tec colors on the edges. The Red Rocket was not Vault-Tec colors, so this is pretty cool. I like how they kept the property of Vault-Tec theme all the way through. We get some art. Now, I have to say, and we'll talk about this later, I do not like these renders whatsoever. I think these renders are terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, I'm going to go ahead and build this. It's just 5 of those armor bays, so this, I'll just build it off camera, and then we will come back and take a closer look. And there we go. The whole set is put together. I have to say, the build process is very repetitive. This essentially was my least favorite part from the Red Rocket set, but times 5. So it's not horrible. The parts fit together nicely. It's just very repetitive. And honestly, if you had 1 or 2 friends to help you with it, it would be done really quick and it would be fine. But yeah, it just be aware. It's very repetitive. You only get a couple extras. You get this little assembly here and a little clip. And then, of course, you've got all the figures all ready to go. Each figure comes with a stand. So let's go ahead and jump in. We will start with that rusted one back over there and just work our way through. If you have not watched my review on the Red Rocket truck stop, I highly recommend you do. I'll pop the card up in the corner because I'm going to keep referencing it throughout this whole video. So if you haven't watched it, you're going to be a little confused. But as I said in that video, I have not played Fallout. It's just one of those games that it takes so much time to get into from what I've seen that I just am like, I don't have time for that. So I don't know all of what goes on in the game. However, this is supposed to be all rusted, and I believe that was one of the ones that you can find early on, is it just fully rusted one. So that's pretty cool. His accessory is a Nuka-Cola Dark, which means we can now have, if you get both the Red Rocket and this set, you can get the Quantum the normal, and the dark, which is awesome. I hope they keep using this piece. This guy is all in this kind of bronze color, which is great. And then there's like a wash over top, which I'm so glad they brought back washes for this whole line, because I feel like the Fallout line of all lines really needs it. He's got print for the eyes, a little bit of lights, and then he's got his reactor stuff around the back, which is really nice. I was not expecting that, because Mega oftentimes with their Spartans, like their standard release Spartans, they won't do print on the back, but this guy does have print. He also has the little gear print on the shoulder. My only real complaint is that there is one arm that doesn't seem to want to go all the way into the upper arm. That's pretty easy. You just heat that up with a hairdryer or something and then pop that in. Articulation wise, you get pretty good movement overall because the big shoulders can hinge out of the way. You get a swivel. The head, I think, is the most limited. I found that there's 2 Spartan torsos. Mega has one that seems to have a shorter neck, and that's what I got in my Red Rocket truck stop, so the head was very limited. This one seems to be the longer one because he can actually look up, which is great. And honestly, even if it's not supposed to be rusted, like ignoring the fact that it's supposed to be rusted, I just think this is a nice color. It looks very steampunkish. This whole color scheme with this design makes me think of something from a steampunk world. Next up, we have the Brotherhood of Steel armor, and I think this one's probably going to be a fan favorite here because this is one that you can kind of army build a bit, and it's kind of what we saw in the Fallout show as well. So if you're a new fan that just watched the show, this is something that'll catch your eye. He comes with a, whoa, come back here, Sugar Bombs cereal box. I don't understand the reference, like what correlation it has to the Brotherhood of Steel armor. Somebody can tell me that in the comments, but this is a print. It's a very thick, nice feeling print too, which I am a big fan of. And they gave you a little clip piece hidden on the back, so you don't have to try to pop it in sideways, because Mega hands don't really do what Lego hands do when it comes to these pieces. Like you can kind of cram it in there, but I wouldn't. So that's a really cool accessory. No weapon, unfortunately. I think a weapon would have really gone a long way with this figure, but we do get that little cereal box, which is cool. Wash over this whole figure. We get a bunch more print. There's print on the arm, the chest, the shoulders, a little bit on the lower chest, and then, of course, his reactor around the back. Now, the wash is random on all of these, so you're going to have varying amounts of wash across the figure. This guy has a lot more down near the legs and less up at the top, which I actually really like, because if you're stomping around in the mud in this big heavy armor, you're going to get more gunk on your legs than anywhere else. This is one of the figures that I got early, or I got a copy early. This one just came out of the box, but I got a copy early, so I've been able to kind of examine this. The first one I got was a bit more loose on the legs and stuff. This guy feels a little less loose, which I'm glad to see. This is another one that I got to kind of preview early, and this is the military T-60. This one comes all in green with a more brown wash, which is great. The head has some more print, and then, of course, same print around the back for the reactor area. This guy comes with a little nuke. He's just casually holding a nuke in his hand, which is kind of funny. You get some printed pieces there. That's hilarious. I like the color matching. The color matching printed on the red compared to the rest of the green is actually pretty good. And then this guy, I think he looks pretty cool. I think he looks cool like alongside Chief. He looks like, just UNSC kind of green. I like the undersuit, the kind of white gray undersuit. It just looks nice. Low contrast. I feel like this is probably going to be the least favorite overall, which I'm like, oh, but it's kind of cool. But it seems like overall this is one that people aren't as interested in. I think it looks great. It might be my favorite. I'm not sure. But I just love the low contrast wash on that green. And it's just such a nice green. Next up, we have this red one. And this one's got the hot rod paint job. And we get a little printed tile to show I guess it's like the perk thing, or I don't know what you call it in game. Basically, the thing that gives you this paint job. And again, it's fully printed and looks fantastic. If you have the red rocket, you can hang that in there, which is great. I'm very impressed with this, actually. There's so much detail crammed onto this little print. And then the suit itself looks great. There's a lot of varying shades of red. Red is actually my favorite color, which is odd because my channel colors ended up being blue. Don't really know how that happened, but this hits just right for me. I love the differing shades of red. I think the face looks really good. The silver is printed pretty well. There's a little overspill here and there, but I like the stripe on the top. The tubes look really good. There's flame on the chest, on the shoulders. There's like this darker, almost shiny red printed on some of the lower legs. That's really nice. Again, around the back, we get that reactor print. Overall, it just looks really good. I like this a lot. There's less definition to the flames and stuff as we see on the box or the instructions. The box doesn't show it, but we'll talk about that later. For now, just looking at the figure, I think it looks pretty awesome. And the final suit is the Vault-Tec suit. And this is the only one that comes armed. It comes with a shotgun. This is a shotgun Mega has had for a while. They've used it for the Call of Duty line. It's a little hard to get them into a shooting pose with it, which is a little unfortunate. But yeah, that's the only weapon we get in the whole set. There is a little peg hole so you can attach it onto things that have that little square attachment. Overall, it looks pretty good. I think the silver spray could have been a little better, but I'm not too miffed about it. I think it's nice just to get a weapon in this set. And then the Vault-Tec suit itself looks really good. I would have liked to see a different color for the eyes, but if they're going for something from the game, then that would make sense why they did that. It's just such low contrast. And then the wash on this one globbed a little on the chest, so that looks a little awkward. I'm not really miffed about it because it is still a wash at the end of the day, but yeah, it's a little weird. And that can happen. Like I said, it is random, so you just kind of have to roll with it. And then the undersuit is this like kind of banana yellow, which means that's Spartan parts in banana yellow, which we have never gotten before. The great thing about these power armors is that with every single T-60, you get new Spartan undersuits, which means you can do custom Spartans with these undersuits. So that's a big plus. But yeah, overall, it looks pretty nice. This one's a little plain. It does have some print down on the midsection, which is nice. But yeah, it's more plain to me. I don't know if this is my favorite of the whole lot, but it does look pretty nice. Also, the head poses pretty darn well. This is clearly one of the ones that has a higher neck peg. And here is the build. So this is literally just 5 of the same suit, storage, gantry, whatever you want to call it. It looks very much like Iron Man's Hall of Armor, which I think is pretty cool. You get these little attachment pieces on the back to turn this all into one long display. So you can have them kind of all arranged, slightly curved inward if you wanted to, just in a straight line. You can swirl them all the way out and around so you can have a full circle. You can also disconnect them and just display them individually because this is the same exact one as we see in the Red Rocket truck stop. So you can pop that out and you can swap them into the Red Rocket if you wanted to. So you could have on your shelf individual armors displayed. You could have a whole armor hall displayed. If you happen to have another piece similar to this, you could pop the additional one and have 6. So there's a lot of configurability with this, which is nice. Again, the real downside is just how repetitive the build is. But I do think Mega designed it quite nicely. It looks very industrial, pretty recognizable. And overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And there you have it. That is the Fallout T-60 Power Armor Collection. Now, before we end off, I just wanted to run through a couple of my complaints and a couple of just quality comments. So quality overall feels pretty good. Like, I'm pretty happy with it. Less loose joints than what I saw with the Red Rocket. Less weirdness going on. I think the only really weird bit was the one arm not going in all the way. I will say be careful because sometimes the armor will come misassembled. So like this guy's shoulders wouldn't go down all the way because his torso was actually not aligned inside the armor. So if you have problems like that, don't panic. Just take a look at it. Just look at it closely. You'll be fine. There is a problem that you can get or often will get with the washed figures, and that will be the head sticks. So if the head on your copy, if you get a copy, sticks, just grab it right at the chin and pull it straight off, pop it back on, you'll be good to go. I have noticed though that after you unstick it, anytime you pop the head on after that, it'll be kind of loose. So you may need to tighten it a little bit after that. And then the renders. Oh boy, the renders do not properly represent this product at all. It both makes the detail look better and worse at the same time. So when I was just looking based on the renders, I didn't realize these had washes. I didn't realize some of the detail was going to be there. So when I got the Brotherhood of Steel armor and the military one in hand, I was blown away by how much detail was on it. The renders also show things like the hot rod armor, the flames being like metallic, the Vault-Tec armor being also metallic. It's just not great. The green doesn't even look like the same armor. I'm just not happy with the renders. I wish they would have gone with photography, as I usually am asking them to do. I feel like it just borderlines on false advertising. And then the final note I wanted to make is that I did see a lot of people commenting for the normal T-60 in the Red Rocket that, oh, the proportions are wrong, it should be bigger, it should be bigger. And yes, if you're wanting to try to make it exactly accurate, but Mega has a specific style and they are keeping most of their figures in the same scale to be able to use all of the different vehicles and whatnot. So this is Mega's chibified version. Yes, the proportions are a little bit off. That's just kind of how Mega rolls. So if you're expecting power armor that looks exactly like height-wise the same, I don't know that you're going to be happy. I will say in the Amazon show, the power armors weren't that much bigger than normal people. So I don't know. I personally am not bothered by it, but I know some of you guys are. That's just kind of how it is. So I will put the Amazon link in the description and the pinned comment for you guys who didn't get a hold of it to bookmark that, keep an eye on it, and hopefully we will see those release again once the pre-orders are shipped. And I'm really hoping, please Mega, please do not let this just be 2 sets. Make a whole line. We all want a whole line. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time.